Welcome back to the Cynthia Clark Book Club. We are actually reading from the Book of Scent this evening. And you spell that book C-Y-N-T. Those are the first four letters of my first name. And the reason I'm calling it the Book of Scent is because this is the first video that I'm doing that's associated with the book club that isn't a video of me reading a book. It's an impromptu video, and it is inspired by the things that are going on in Chicago with respect to the South Side, all the media coverage of the things and things like that. And what I was going to do originally was, interview some folks that grew up in on the South Side and kind of find out what happened that um, assisted in them getting caught up. And what I did this evening is I went back and I watched this documentary about Chirac on YouTube. It's a short documentary just to kind of get in the vibe of what I wanted to do. And then I realized after I saw the video again that I am not interested in looking at that view of it. It's been looked at, it's being looked at, and what I'd rather do, especially based on all the books that I'm reading, it says that what you focus on grows, right? So you focus on what you want, or you can focus on what you don't want. And so I grew up in a neighborhood called Inglewood on the south side of Chicago, which they're calling, they're calling the South Side Chirac now. Not all of the South Side, but parts of it. And Inglewood is part of that. And I grew up in the 80s when, like, the crack cocaine came in. But I didn't get caught up. So I'd rather talk about what I think happened with me that made it where I didn't get caught up. I remember when I went to college, I told some of my friends, I remember telling them this, that I could have been a crackhead easy because the opportunity was there where I grew up. So let me start out by telling this story. This is straight impromptu. I don't have any notes. I just am just throwing it out there and seeing what happens. And anyway, this is how the book club works. I do a video, I post it in YouTube, I post it on my Facebook page and on my website. And if there's something in the video that's of interest to you and you would like to post a comment, then you just do that and we can have a conversation. Otherwise, I'll just do something that I love to do anyway, and which is one of my favorite things, which is express myself. It's just something I love to do. So anyway, I'm going to start out with this story. I was about 14. I was in high school. I wasn't going to say any names first, but I'll just say the first names. You just never know how things get back to people, even if you're not associating with them anymore. But when I was in high school, we had, my mom and dad let a young lady stay with us. I was 14. I think she may have been 16. And I'm just going to say her, I'm going to call her B because her first initial was B. So anyway, B came to live with us. Her and her mom had some issues, and so my mom and dad let her come stay with us. And she had a friend that went to the same high school that I went to, and her friend's name was E. Okay, so B and E. So anyway, one day I go out with B and E. I don't know where we're going. We're just walking down the street. I don't know if we were going to the store. I was pretty much just going with them. And so we end up getting to a house. We went to a house, and I need to change this around. We went to this house, and when we got to the house, I felt awkward as hell. Something in my spirit said, you know what, Cynthia, you don't belong here. And if you get out of here unscathed, then you should not go any damn where with these two girls ever again. It was just something in my spirit. It was just like my spidey senses were tingling. So I was like, you know what? Let me please just get me the hell up out of this joint. So anyway, I got out the house, no problem. I knew it was weird. I didn't know if it was like a crack house. I guess I was thinking, oh, they must sell drugs or something in here. That's just the feeling that I got. It was just like, oh, I don't belong here. So anyway, I got out of there, and I never went anywhere with them again. Then I remember once, Bridget was talking to me. We were at home, and she was like, I went to this club, and they had cocaine, and I snorted it. And I was like, oh shit. Yeah, I was like, oh, you know what, I just wasn't that adventurous. Okay, not no cocaine, but I will tell you this story. Bridget had gotten some marijuana, and this is before the cocaine thing. She told me that she went to this club and was snorting some cocaine. This was at Inglewood, some joint on 69th Street, probably like near 69th and Ashland. But anyway, before then, she had come upstairs, because she came upstairs where the bedrooms were. Then it's the kitchen, then it's the basement, right? So she came upstairs. She was like, Cynthia, I have some marijuana. Do you want to? I think I said her name. It doesn't matter now. Anyway, she said, I have some marijuana. Do you want to try it? And I was like, yeah, so I wanted to try it, right? So I tried it, and I loved it, and I was so freaking high. I really enjoyed it. And so anyway, I'm upstairs, and all of a sudden I hear my dad call my name. My dad never calls me for anything. I'm like 14, right? He doesn't call me for nothing. And so I was like, what is he calling me for? So then I'm thinking, okay, I have to act really normal. I have to act super normal so he does not know. So I go down the stairs, and when you go downstairs, you're in the kitchen, and my mom's cooking greens, and I'll walk to the stove, and the pot catches my eye. And it's like, you know how when something's boiling in the pot, how the top might be, shaking a little. So I walk to the top, and I take my hand, I start like I'm in a trance, right? I'm spinning the damn top, right? Right there is the back porch, right? So my dad's on the back porch, and he was like, have you been smoking? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, it's like, and I'm like, how the hell do you know? And then my mom came, and she could just sense something was wrong. She was like, what's wrong? And I was like, I smoked some marijuana, some weed. We called it reefer back then. I'm 14, right? Smoked some reefer with B. And the look on my mom's face was like death. It looked like her heart just died. See, my mom didn't, she smoked cigarettes, but she didn't do that other stuff. Her sister, she couldn't deal with smelling it, none of that stuff. My daddy, on the other hand, love my daddy, rest his soul. He probably reincarnated already by now anyway. So he's cool with this, but anyway, my dad smoked the hell out of some weed. In fact, come to find out, he's the dude that gave it to B in the first damn place. She was 16, she was more experienced in the world, she did that kind of stuff anyway. So this dude, my daddy, gave her the damn weed, like in the basement. That's where he had his bar, and that's where he smoked his weed and all this other stuff. So he's the dude that gave her the damn weed, and it turned around and bit him in the ass, and she gave it to his 14-year-old daughter. That would be me, right? So anyway, after I told y'all, at first I was really enjoying it. I was like, oh, this is the best in the world, right? And then all of a sudden, when they found out that I had smoked it, then that feeling of like whatever that feeling was that I had turned into this disgusting, deep, depressing like feeling that I couldn't get rid of until the marijuana wore off. And so from that point on, I was like, you know what? I don't like this shit. And so it was like, I don't like the way it's making me feel. Please let this shit wear off. And so that was my reefer story. Anyway, I go to this house with B and E, and I get out unscathed, no problem. I knew something wasn't right about the joint, and I just knew that was not somebody I needed to hang out with. And then later on, she was talking about she was snorting cocaine. I was like, oh hell. So my point in saying all that is my spidey senses tingle. It's just something inside of me was like, this ain't you. This is not you, and this is not your crowd. Okay? And so from there, damn, where do I want to go after here? This is not your crowd. Oh, maybe 2 months ago, I'm on my way to the office, and this lady passes me, and she says, I like your hair. Your hair is pretty. And I turn and I look at her and I say, thank you. And it was E, okay? Not B, E, okay? The other girl that I went to the house with. This is just 2 months ago, right? So I'm 44, so she's like 43, 44 now. And she tells me, I said, hi, E. I'm just going to say her name, damn it. Her name's Erica. So anyway, I see Erica. And I said, hi, Erica. And she kind of looks at me weird. And then she said, did you call me Erica? She's like, do I know you? And I said, yeah, you went to, you know, I said the name of my high school and all that stuff. And she was like, really? And I was like, yeah, used to hang out with B, and remember? And she was like, really? Like, where do we hang out? Because she knew, I guess, you know, the stuff she used to do in high school. So she was like, well, you know, she didn't remember B, she didn't remember me. And I said, you know, we were just talking and everything. She started talking, and then she started talking about the fact that, I guess since she was 16, she had started using crack, and she used it for 16 or 17 years. And that's who I was at that house with that night. And that's why I tell people, and I used to wonder, I was like, I wonder what ever happened to Erica, real pretty girl. Now I used to wonder what happened to her. And she said that she had started dancing, became a dancer, like I guess exotic dancers, and ain't nothing wrong with it. I'm not knocking it, but she told me some stuff that was rough. And all I could think was, glad I didn't go down that road. Just glad I didn't go down that road. That road just was not for me. And I just knew to I just knew to stay away from certain elements. Then I remember this video is about how I didn't get caught up. So that's one scenario. I remember once, I was either 13 or 14, probably 13, and I was at home, and my mom was home, and she was a stay-at-home mom, which is good. Yeah, that was really good, because, you know, she later on, her and my dad broke up, so my younger siblings didn't have mom and dad in the house throughout those developing years as long as I did. And so I found out later, after I went to college, that the experiences that my younger brothers and sisters had was a lot different than me because of that dysfunction that went on in the house. Anyway, my mom's going to see this, but hey, you know, I got to get it out. You know, life happens to us all, right? So, anyway, I'm like 13 years old, and I'm in the house, and I'm bored to death, okay? But, yeah, I'm just bored. So, I remember being in the living room, and I look over at the dining room table, and I see her cigarettes. Cools, filter cool. And I say to myself, oh, let me try to smoke a cigarette. And I tried to smoke a cigarette, and it didn't work. I didn't know how to, like, inhale the cigarette. And so I was like, whatever. And then I remember being outside with my mom, and she was on the porch, and I think she, like, threw a cigarette. She was finished with it. And I was like, let me try this shit again. So I picked that cigarette up, and it worked this time. I figured out how to inhale it, and I loved it. So at 13, I get addicted to damn cigarettes. But I did not see myself as a smoker. And so it took me 8 times to quit. I smoked all the way through damn college. I mean, I was addicted to cigarettes. I remember one of my college friends took my cigarettes from me, and we were in the hallway in the dormitory, and I'm a non-violent person for the most part. Why did she took my cigarettes trying to help me stop smoking? Why the hell did I grab her in her chest? Her name was Pat, and I pushed up against the wall. I'm like, you better give me my damn cigarettes. She was like, wow. I was like, oh shit. Anyway, I was addicted to cigarettes at 13, so all through college I'm smoking cigarettes, and I finally quit. I quit probably a senior in college because I just didn't see myself as a smoker. So I stopped. And so the video's about why I didn't get caught up, right? And it's because for me, and I think a lot of people, inside you kind of have a feeling for who and what you are. And I think that it comes down to, are you going to be brave enough? Damn, this is therapeutic as hell. Are you going to be brave enough to be you? Are you going to be brave enough to be who the hell you are? Or are you going to be a fucking punk and do what Bridget does and do what Erica does and end up traveling the road that Erica traveled? I think that part of it has to do with being courageous. Yep. Courageous. I think you have to be courageous enough to be you. So those are things that happened that I didn't feel was me, that I was courageous enough to maybe to not do, in the case of Bridget and Erica, and brave enough to allow myself to sink into it, which was the cigarette addiction, but pull myself out of it because I ain't no fucking smoker. That's not who the fuck I am. So that I was brave enough. I had the courage to not do that because it wasn't me. Now, what else kept me from not getting caught up in Chirac? I really did not even, I didn't experience the Chirac that a lot of people experience. The crack came, I guess, in the early 80s. I thought it just came like in the later 80s because that's when I experienced someone that I knew that got addicted to crack. I'll tell you that story a little later. But before I go to that particular story, let me tell you this story. on the block. My sisters, my little sisters were down the street, and my little brothers were down the street. I don't know where the hell I was. I was in the house a lot, unless I was outside jumping rope. But anyway, I wasn't out that day. And some dude walks down the street with a gun, and they tell my brothers, go inside, go in the house. And my brothers didn't go in the house. And my little sisters saw the guy walking down the street too, and realized the guy had a gun. And he gets to the end of the alley and blows somebody's head, you know. And the girl that used to babysit us lived on the corner. And so I remember talking to her on the phone. She's like, Cynthia, I see him. She's like, it's blood everywhere. And I'm like, ugh. Yeah, I was in the house, obviously, because I had to talk to her on the phone. And so I say that to say this. Sometimes when you're not vibrating on a certain level, you're not even around certain stuff. So all kind of hell was breaking loose. Drive-bys on the next block. I don't even go in my old neighborhood anymore. Shell shock. I don't go there. I remember somebody had their baby. I remember someone, on the news, they was like somebody had their baby in a carriage and they were going down the street and the baby got killed because somebody was shooting. So I don't even go back there. And I'm so glad that there are people that are bold and brave enough to do that. That's part of their calling. And what I realize is not mine. It's not my calling. My calling is to do something different. It's just something different. It's not that. So anyway, how I didn't get caught up, I wasn't vibrating on that level. I think my mind was just on other stuff. When it was time to go to school and all that other stuff, I was like, okay, so you go to school and you're just supposed to do your homework. And so I was more focused on just doing. It got to a point where I was just focused on doing what I was supposed to do. Period. And that served me well, just doing what I was supposed to do. It's funny. When I went to my high school reunion a couple months ago, or a month ago, or whatever, and we had one of the faculty come to the event, and she was giving a speech. So one of my girlfriends I used to hang out with came and sat next to me, and she's just talking and talking, and someone's trying to take a picture of us. She knows that everybody at the table knows that they're trying to take a picture, but me. And so my friend says, look at Cynthia. She doesn't know because she's paying attention to the speech. She always paid attention. And that was it. I did what I was supposed to do. It was just something inside of me that had me focus on doing what I thought I was supposed to do. And it turned out good. I told you things that happened that were not good, that I didn't get into or go deep into. So let me tell you a couple of things that happened that were good, that kept me from getting caught up. And one of those things was in grammar school. I wasn't even trying to, but I think I was ranked like the number 3 in grammar school, and I got this award. And I remember at the school I went to, the community I lived in was mostly black, like all 90-something black. It was maybe 1 or 2 whites that were left that hadn't left yet when the black people came. But I remember when I got my award, it was at Raster Elementary School. And this white man, he gave me the award, and then he kissed me on the jaw. And I was like, this white man just kissed me on the jaw. And I was like, oh, okay. And so, but it was like, oh, you know, what's to this? Just another thing that happened. I remember being in class. This is in grammar school. I used to, anyway. When I was in grammar school, I remember one day the teacher gave us a math problem and left out of the room. And I started working on the math problem, and the math problem just started unfolding. And it was like, oh, and I did the math problem. And then I realized, I was like, you know what? It was like everybody else in the room was having a problem with the math problem. And I was like, damn, why do I know the answer to the math problem? Why am I figuring out the math problem easy and they're not getting it? And so it was just like something saying, you know what, Cynthia, there might be something to you. Might be something to you. Not that I was better than them. Shit, it was some of them that probably played the violin better than I could even dream. Sing songs better than I could dream. But that math problem was my thing that day. And I noticed it. And then the little, being ranked number 3 and getting a little, it was called the Ellis Award. That's what it was called, the Ellis Award at Raster. I got that award. Then when I went to high school, I was in Mr. Williams' algebra class, and he says, we have the number 1 ranked student in our what do you call it? I forgot, home base or whatever. I don't remember what it's called. And it's Cynthia Battle. And I was like, damn, I'm number 1 ranked student? What the hell? And I was not trying to be. I was just doing what I thought I was supposed to do. And I actually graduated valedictorian of my high school. And I remember they had my little picture in the paper. I need to probably get a film of that. You know, you need to. I need to. People need to. It's good to remember those things. So I think it was the Chicago Sun-Times. They put a picture of all the valedictorians that year, and I was a damn valedictorian. I was like, oh shit. And so that's something good that happened before I went to high school. No, while I was in high school, before I graduated. And the reason I'm going through all this, it's not just self-grandeur. The video is about why I think I didn't get caught up. How I could have got caught up, but then how I didn't get caught up. But I remember this group came to school. I don't know if it was Upward Bound. I don't know what this group was called, but they came to our school, and they took the top 3 in high school. They took the top 3 ranked students downtown to this fancy dancy restaurant in the Water Tower place. It was called Hillary's of Water Tower. I don't think it's there anymore. Then they took us to dinner, and then I don't know why the hell I got shrimp, because I was allergic to shrimp, but I was like, damn, I'm ordering some shrimp. And then they took us on a carriage ride on a Magnificent Mile. It was just like amazing. I was like, it was like I got to see something else. And it was just something different, you know. Then I graduate, right? And all through high school, I was doing hair because my Aunt Chris taught me how to do hair. I was braid people hair to make money. I used to do carefree curls, $20 a head. And so I used to make my own money by doing hair, right? So I was like, you know what? I'll get a beauty salon. And I was like, maybe over time, me and my sisters, we can have a salon or whatever. And I remember somebody from my accounting class that used to copy off my paper in accounting class. They went to college. It was a guy. And he went to college And he went to the same college that his uncle went to, which was DePaul. And he pledged a fraternity called Alpha Phi Alpha. And I remember after he graduated, he came back that next summer to the old neighborhood, you know, with his new car that was gold, antique gold, same color as frat, got all this stuff on and everything. And he said, Cynthia, what are you going to do now that you've graduated from high school? I will never forget this. Right in front of the house on 68th and Walcott. Cynthia, what are you going to do now that you're going to graduate high school? Now that you graduate. And I said, well, I'm going to go to beauty school. He said, beauty school? Because he was, oh my God, you talking about stuck up, Lord. So he was like, beauty school? Like, what the hell? And so he said, you should go to college. And I was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I guess I'll go to college. The only reason I went, it was before I graduated. Anyway, so the recruiter that was on campus was always coming to the school for Mundelein, which is Loyola now. I started talking to her, and that's why I went to college. And thank God I did, because all hell broke loose up in my neighborhood when I left. God. Anyway, my friend that used to babysit us, that I was talking on the phone, I think I just did this. I didn't even try. That I was trying to do that. I think I did the FU finger. My friend that lived at the end of the block. Anyway, I went to school. I lived off campus the first semester, and then the second semester I lived on campus, right? So after the first semester, I come back home, and my beautiful, smart, gorgeous girl that used to babysit us had gotten addicted to crack cocaine. And when I came home after that first semester, something was different. I looked in her eyes, and her eyes were different. It's like it was like a different person inside of her. It looked like her, but it was somebody different and housed in that frame. And I was like, what? I didn't get it. And she asked me to borrow, and she asked to borrow money. She never borrowed money from me. She's not one to, she would have not been one to borrow money. That was just, so I knew something was wrong. And it got to the point, her and her husband, they had 2 kids, her and her husband unfortunately got addicted to crack. And it got to the point where I guess her mom, they lived with their mom down the street, and it got to the point where the story I heard was that the mom had money or got a bonus or something like that and had money, and they needed it for their habit. And when she didn't give it to them, let's just say the mom ended up in an alley, dead. And they both spent time in jail. And I remember my dad telling me once that I saw so-and-so, which is this particular person, because he would, like on a Saturday morning, he would get up really early and maybe go to White Castle and get coffee and get us, some sliders and stuff and bring it back early Saturday morning. And one day he told us, I saw so-and-so in the alley, naked, with just a coat on. And so she's okay now. She's okay now. She's out of prison and she's okay now. But I could have got caught up. But something inside of me, I was talking to my brother once about this situation, and he said his favorite superhero is Spider-Man. And the reason his favorite hero is Spider-Man, he said, is because Spider-Man has spidey senses. And you got to pay attention to your spidey senses. And part of the reason I didn't get super caught up is because I listened to my spidey senses. And my spidey senses let me know when, you know what, you're going down the wrong road. Or you're not supposed to be around these people. So I was talking to another friend that grew up in the neighborhood that I didn't know when I didn't know this person growing up, but they lived in my neighborhood. They were on my block. They know a lot of the people I know. And I was talking to them on the phone, and they didn't get caught up. They actually ended up going off to the military, then going to school. So they went from Inglewood, Chirac to getting a PhD and as a doctor now. And I asked them, and they actually used to play with one of the young men that died early. He told me, he said, I used to play with Bernard before he went bad. I used to play with Bernard before he turned bad. And I asked him, I said, well, what happened that you didn't get caught up? And, you know, hopefully I can interview him to find out what happened with him. But he was telling me his story, and it's kind of similar to mine. It's like little things happened along the way that he paid attention to, signs and signals or breadcrumbs, if you will, that let him know you're supposed to do something different. Now, I remember he told me a story. He said, yeah, if that, you know, when he hang out with his guys and they be like, come on, we about to go, you know, rob somebody, or we about to go steal a car or something. And he'd be like, you know what, I think I you know what, I think I hear my grandma calling me. I think part of it is just listening to your spidey senses. I think some people just aren't brave enough. They just acquiesce to the shit. Just not mentally strong enough, maybe, to listen to the voice within, as opposed to just going along with the shit. You know, I wonder if they just not mentally strong enough for it. You know, I think part of it, I think part of it is sometimes you just see the same negative shit. You can't see out of it. It's like you lose your imagination. As children, we have these phenomenal imaginations. All kind of hell can happen to us. But we could see out of it. We could play and be somewhere else. And it's like some people lose their imagination early. And they only allow themselves to see what's right in front of them. And when I talk to some people that got caught up, sometimes when I talk to them, it's like they like, I ain't shit and the world is terrible. It's fucked up out here. No hope. It's like they have no hope. It's like they lost their superhero, the superhero inside that believe you can do something. It's like they just gave up the superhero. You know, they gave up the ghost. Shit. And you gotta be strong, you gotta be brave, and you gotta I think you gotta allow yourself to be a little fucking crazy. And this is what I mean when I say that is, I don't give a damn that all hell seems to be breaking loose around you. You know what? Look, some of these dudes, they see what's going on behind, right? And they allow themselves to get crazy. They allow themselves to get crazy enough to, quote unquote, get mad at their friend and get a gun and go, quote unquote, bust a cap in his ass. They crazy that way. But they don't allow themselves to be crazy enough to believe that they can achieve their dream. And I think we all have dreams. And we talking about, you know, brothers on the south side of Chicago, Chirac, but a lot of people in life do that. Don't allow themselves to be crazy enough to believe that they can achieve their dreams. So they acquiesce. They might be on a job, right, and can't stand it. They really have this dream, this desire, but all they see, everybody around them, is just working the job and waiting for retirement, hating it. But they just acquiesce, and superhero inside, they give up that ghost, you know, let the superhero go. And so we talking about brothers on the south side of Chicago, but that mentality keeps all creeds, colors, and a lot of people from doing what they really want to do. So I guess giving up and being hopeless is part of it. Not allowing your imagination to take you other places. And then you just think of like the Wright brothers, you know. They never let the superhero inside die. They believed, even though they didn't see any planes flying around them, they believed that a fucking machine could fly in the damn air and nothing was going to stop them from making one, making an airplane work. What's the dude, Thomas Edison? He was going to make that light. He was going to find the freaking filament. He allowed himself to be crazy enough to believe that he would find a filament that would burn as long as he needed it to burn. He was courageous and brave enough. I like that video or that poem that Steve Jobs did called The Crazy Ones. Can't be no punk. You know, is it the punks that's killing the people? You know, you would think, oh, those the badasses going around the neighborhood busting caps in people's asses. Really? Are those the unbrave, uncourageous punks that gave up their superhero? I don't know. All I know is I am going to be courageous. I'm courageous. And I am going to allow myself to be fucking crazy and live the fucking kind of life I want to this. So the same spirit, the same spidey senses, the same image of myself that did not allow me to get caught the fuck up in Chirac, as they call it, or Inglewood, or south side of Chicago. That same fucking spirit, I'm going to use that to do what I really want to do in life, to reach my goals. It's beautiful because you can use that over and over again in life. So yeah, I went to college, I graduated, I remember I almost got kicked out. My grades was jacked up because I was so excited about being in college and going to parties. Oh Lord, being in the dorm. I was like, forget this, let me experience this. I wasn't thinking about the grades, and then my grades fell off, and I remember Sister Jean. I had to call Sister Jean. She's 93 years old, still at Loyola right now. When I see her, I remember having to be on the phone with Sister Jean, and she was like, all I remember her saying is, this is because I was going to get kicked out and my grades didn't get better. All I remember her saying is, you better do better. All the hell I remember, right? And guess what? I did better. I threw the fuck down. All-nighters. I studied my ass off. I got all A's that semester because I knew something inside of me said, Cynthia, you're supposed to do this. Do what you're supposed to do. And I did it, right? So then, after college, I get my job. That was cool. And that do what you're supposed to do thing kicked in. And yeah, I did what I was supposed to do. I was a fucking workhorse. I love to work, right? Got the promotions and all that other stuff. Doing what I was supposed to do. Get knocked down. You didn't get the promotion you want, goddammit. They got the little resources. You go in there, you talk to people and figure out what you got to do to get the next promotion. I did all that. Then it got to the point where it was like, you know what? I don't want to work a fucking job forever. And I had to allow myself to be brave enough and courageous enough to not acquiesce and give up the ghost of my superhero ghost, and then, launch out and do my own thing in business. So yeah, that's how I didn't get caught up. That's how I could have been a crackhead easy. And I hate to use that word, but that's because I don't like labeling like that, but I could have been addicted to crack easy. But you know what? I didn't acquiesce, goddammit. I listened to the superhero inside of me. And I let that superhero talk louder than what I saw in front of me. Just something that I think we all have that lets us know there's more. But then, after you know there's more, then you can't be no motherfucking punk. You gotta be courageous enough to fucking go for it. All this goddamn whining. Oh. It's hard out here. Society fucked up. One of my nephews, young buck, talking about it. Society fucked up. What the hell are you talking about? Society fucked up. You get to you get to do something you love to do all the damn time, which is be on the computer, and he's good at it. And, listen to the other motherfuckers. Oh, it's society. Man, don't get me started. Words are powerful. So I hear this young buck saying that shit. He is a genius. But We could speak against our genius. Our genius is the superhero inside. God damn it! Don't give up your superhero. Don't give up the ghost. Don't give up the superhero ghost. And he's verbalizing. I just today, I just hear my little 15-year-old intelligent, intellectual fucking nephew say some shit like, yes, it's like, fuck that. It's all. You ain't. That did something to me. Our society's all fucked up. Dude, That's bitch made. No bitch made attitude. Yeah, the bitch made attitude has got to go. And you know what? It seems like when it's like coming out that it's not bitch made, like it's bravado or it's robust, but it's not. That's impotent language. That's bitch made language. And it's like, I hear it. I'm like, what the fuck? This hopelessness shit. What the hell is this? What is this hopelessness stuff I see? You gotta be courageous. You gotta be brave. Yeah, we need more courageous, brave mugs up in this. Yeah, that's what we need. Then I have another nephew. I love him. And I heard him talking about his dreams. And I was like, I was digging it. I was feeling it all up in here. And then I heard him say, it probably never happened. What is that? What is that? What's that weak bullshit? And I'm talking about them, but it's like this fog in the world. Motherfuckers talking about what they can't do. Don't talk to me about what you can't do. Not me. Don't talk to me. I'm not trying to hear what you can't do. Because it might infect me. Shit. Can't be infected with that weak ass bitch made mentality. That's why I act the ass on Facebook sometimes. I have to. I have to counteract. The bitch made viruses, mental viruses that are out there. Shit. That shit is like kryptonite to my inner superhero. I can't be fucking just letting it go unchecked. I gotta be, what's that dude's name? Nakembe Natumbo? I gotta be like Nakembe Natumbo and block the bitch made mental shit that people have in the air. Anyway, that's it. I'm done. I am going to, though, before I end my video, read this poem that I really dig. But I'm going to alter it a little bit and make it Cynthia style. And the name of the poem is Invictus. I think that it is so timely. I think it's the perfect poem to read for this video. I know it's long, but hey, I don't care. It's my first video where I'm not reading. I'm just talking shit. So anyway, check this out. I'm gonna read this poem. I like this poem, but I'm gonna change some of the words a little bit to make it. This is when I say this poem. This is how I say it. I say it to myself. I might read it 2 times. Anyway, this is how I read Invictus, or how I say Invictus to me, to counteract. Look, check this out. I told this story. I like Iron Man, right? So when Iron Man had his power source, the first one was poisoning the hell out of him. It was fueling him and giving him, his life power, but it was poisoning him too because of what it was. So he had to guzzle this chlorophyll. He was guzzling chlorophyll to counteract the poison, right? And so I feel like I gotta read like shit like Invictus and other stuff to counteract this bitch-made poison that's infiltrating part of the universe. See, I need the force to stay. I need the force to stay strong with my ass. I can't lose my ability to tap into the force. I remember Yoda and Samuel L. Jackson in the movie. We can't let the council know that, that we're not able to. Anyway, So anyway, I have to read poems like Invictus to counteract the bitch-made virus that some people are coughing on Facebook and other venues, and my nephews might be infected with which is anyway. Let me read this shit. And this is how I read it to my. I have it memorized, but sometimes I get it mixed up. It's kind of an awkward form. So anyway, this is how I read it to myself. I might read it twice. Anyway, it says, out of the night that covers me, black is the pit from pole to pole. I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the felt clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find my black ass unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishment the scroll. God damn it, I'm the master of my fate. I'm the captain of my soul. That's Invictus.